So I'm careful, but apparently I'm not careful enough. Once I get that straw moved, the plunger immediately falls and catches my arm right here. It's a real thing, and it can happen like that.
In Big Orange Country, we live for big moments, but we know there are surprises along the way. When you need help with auto, some peace of mind for your home, or you're preparing for the next chapter in life, Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee is there for you. That's why I trust Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee, the official insurance of the Balls. Tennessee Insurance for Tennessee Life.
Not funny, guys.
Well, joining us today on Root of the Matter is Kary Robinson here in Franklin County. And Kary, you are very involved in Farm Bureau, young farmers and ranchers, and you've got just a beautiful operation here. We're on Kary's farm today here in Franklin County. You can probably hear the rain. We're underneath your shed here for some of the equipment. And so if you hear that, that's what it is. It's a rainy day, perfect day to see a farmer, right? Yeah. But first off, just tell us a little bit about you, what you farm here, and what you do.
Okay, so I farm here with my twin brother, dad and mom, and we grow several different crops, very diversified farm, and been in young farmers and ranchers for a very long time, since I was 18, and actually been part of Farm Bureau since I was a young boy. Went to the events with my mom and dad when they was in young farmers and ranchers.
Yeah, our director of communications, Lee Maddox, he used to come out and do videos with your dad, right? And there's footage of you and your brother when you were just, probably knee high, maybe less than that, helping on the farm. So, I mean, really, it's been a part of your life since you were born, farm.
It has been.
So, you've row crops predominantly is what y'all grow?
Row crops is our main thing, with soybeans probably being the largest acres, then corn and cotton following that. We also do wheat, sometimes do some oats. So we're very diversified when it comes to the row crops, but then we also do hay, and we have cattle on this farm as well.
And the cotton is something fairly new, right?
It is.
Is it only your second year?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And what's that been like for you, kind of getting into the cotton scene? I mean, it's a little different than corn and soybean.
It is, but what I'm saying, I like the rotation and what it does for the ground, and that other enterprise where we're more diversified. I think it's going to be a good thing for us.
So this week is National Farm Safety and Health Week, and it's very important to stop and pause and think about that, because statistics show that farming is a very dangerous occupation. All kinds of different scenarios where accidents can happen with machinery. I mean, heck, even handling livestock can be dangerous in and of itself. And so we're talking about that today and just the importance of that. And you know firsthand how critical it is to practice safety on the farm. You've had some personal experience with that. Maybe tell us a little bit about some of your story of kind of having a close call here on the farm.
I'll be glad to. And I'll say I realize that farming is one of the most dangerous industries, but also we both know that it's one of the most blessed and wonderful lifestyles a person can live. But back to this accident on the farm with me. It was June the 9th of 2016, and I was in about a 40-acre straw field where I was baling straw and bundling the bales, running a piece of equipment that I was very familiar with and probably had as much experience as knowledge about on the farm as any one of the workers there. Headed east down a windrow when a bale gets hung between the plunger and the bending box. Now, this is something that's happened with me numerous times. I killed hydraulics on the tractor and disconnect the power for safety reasons, because I know this machine needs to be dead when I'm working on it. Go back there to fix a problem that should only take a couple minutes. I don't plan on being back there long at all. Actually, leave the tractor running, PTO still running on the baler. I'm planning on coming right back to the tractor. Well, I get there and start removing the straw bale, realizing the position that the plunger is in is a dangerous position, so I'm careful. but apparently I'm not careful enough. Once I get that straw moved, the plunger immediately falls and catches my arm right here. To start with, you know, I'm pretty much just trapped. I'm not in a terrible amount of pain. I'm in, you know, quite a bit. I can't, um, you know, move because you know, it's got me trapped. Um, you know, we're in the time frame when we do have technology. I've got a cell phone, got an iPad, and Bluetooth sunglasses, but they're all in the tractor. So I'm there without any kind of electronic device to contact people. I holler for help. Um, it seems no one's going to hear me. There is houses on all four sides of this field, but it's, you know, late in the evening. I guess people are, you know, in the house going to bed. It appears that I'm going to be there quite some time. I've done some praying and I've done some hollering, and the pinching just gets worse and worse as the plunger kind of goes down. It's kind of like a wedge. As it goes down, there's no more coming up. I've got this hand and arm that I can, you know, pry with some. Got a Leatherman on the side that I'll take you out and, you know, use a little bit to do some prying. But I just cannot get this thing to free up, and the pinching gets really, really bad. From the pinch point down is now numb. I can no longer move my fingers. I mean, I'm thinking this is the way that I'm gonna leave the earth, and it's gonna be a very slow and painful death. I mentioned I had been hollering. By this point, I'm really doing some serious screaming, and you know, no help. The idea of cutting my arm off right here at my elbow had been an idea that had went through my mind just to, you know, get out of this position. But that wasn't even an option now because I had dropped my Leatherman at some point, which, you know, that might have been a good thing looking back. Probably bled to death had I tried to cut my arm off. But with a sincere heart, I do some more praying, and when I lift my head up from that prayer, I see lights of a white truck slowing down on the road. I don't know who this is, but well, I realize that my prayer's been answered. And when that truck stops, I holler for help. He comes across the field. He gets there, and I ask for him to go to the truck to get my phone or call my twin brother. Just because I have someone there doesn't mean this problem's over with. I still have a serious problem in my hands. So I know that my twin brother and my mind together can think through this and get us out of this quick as anybody. Well, my dad, my twin brother, and another worker get there, and we go to trying to get the plunger lifted up. Have the idea of lifting with the tractor and loader, but there's not one there in the field. That's not a good option. So I have the idea of using a pipe wrench to twist the shaft, and there is one in the tractor toolbox. We tried that, but the one that we have's not quite doing the job. The teeth on it ain't hardly good enough to bite. So Daddy runs home to get a pipe wrench. While doing it, the guy that had stopped, he mentioned he has one, and he's only about a half mile down the road. So we send him to get one as well. Don't know who will get back the quickest, but whoever can get back the quickest is who we need. Seconds really matter to me at this point. And turns out my dad gets there first. He gives Tracy a bar, and he goes to pry, and I see the metal bend, and I can feel some movement that really, really feels good. Show my dad which shaft he needs to twist and which way to turn it. He goes to twisting that shaft, and the plunger comes up, and I'm free of this trap. But still, you know, I'm not able to move my fingers. They're numb. So I head home with Daddy to take a quick shower before I go to the emergency room. But my mom recommends, with the numbness that I'm feeling, I better get to the emergency room quick, see if I can do something sooner, may be better than later. And as we're headed there, about halfway there, I start to, you know, get a little bit of movement. And from there, it just gets better and better. Now, from this experience, I feel that I am a very, very blessed individual to, to make it out of that alive, to have my arm, to have my fingers that I can still use. There's many things that can be learned from this. The three big things, though, that I would say that I learned from this and others can learn from it is, one, being careful on the farm is not good enough. We have to be extra careful, because even those things that we're very familiar with can be problems at times. And then number two, we can leave this earth at any moment. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. We need to be ready, and we need, to share that with other folks. And then number three, there's certainly power in prayer.
Yeah, absolutely. How long were you out there from kind of start to finish?
I really don't know for sure. I think I was only about 8 minutes from the time that I got caught from when the first guy got there to help me. And that may not seem like, very much time to some people, but when you watch a rodeo and see how long 8 seconds is for a guy on a bull, and then put 8 minutes to that, 8 minutes was a very long time, and at the time, I thought that was only a drop in the bucket to what I was going to be out there in that. And the way it was, every minute that passed by, or maybe every second, I could say, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. To start with, I was just, caught and, helpless. But then it got to where, pressure got being put on, more and more pressure, and it was just awful. Awful.
And I'm sure at some point, you almost have a sense of panic probably going through your mind somewhat, right? Or
So
it would be easy to get there.
it would be easy to get there, but I really can't say that I ever had a whole lot of that. I mean, it was almost a moment of calmness in a sense, because I knew that being panicked was not going to help the situation at all. I was the only one there that could do anything at the time. And then even when others got there, I tried to stay very calm, and on the phone called to my brother to stay calm, because getting other people all stirred up wasn't going to get them there any quicker. So for some reason, I was able to stay calm. I'm not really sure why that was, but I can remember a lot of things going through my mind, and never getting too worked up about it. Now, I was doing some screaming, don't get me wrong there, some serious screaming, very loud.
I bet.
But I did try to keep a good head on my shoulders through the entire thing.
And I'm sure that prayer helped you to stay calm as well, just know that God was there with you in that. It really does just echo the point and really put a magnifying glass on the point, really, that these things can happen in a split second.
I can't.
And even you said you were being careful. You thought you were practicing safety, and still it happened.
Right, like I had mentioned, turned the hydraulics off on the tractor, killed the power, went back there, to be very safe. I knew this machine could be dangerous. Knew where the plunger was at, could be a dangerous position. It could fall, but I thought I was being careful, but I wasn't being careful enough. And we farmers can so often get in a hurry and take shortcuts that we shouldn't, and sometimes we can certainly regret them.
It really is fitting that this National Week is in September, because there are farmers all across the country that are harvesting right now.
Busy time for us.
And the weather, you only have so much time to get that crop out of the field. So when you talk about getting in a hurry, this is probably prime time when it could be easy to get in a hurry. And that's probably when those accidents are going to happen.
You're exactly right. And not only are farmers getting in a hurry sometimes, and I mean, I realize we have to work productive. We have to, hurry some to get it done. But we're running long hours sometimes, and that can also play a factor in situations when you don't have as much sleep in your body as maybe what you should.
I mean, that sleep thing is a big deal.
It is.
Sure. It's a big deal. What about, did you take anything from it as far as being by yourself? I know on some operations, farmers don't necessarily have a choice if they don't have a lot of help, but it probably does behoove you to have someone with you to help and kind of be close by.
Yeah,
I'm sure, right?
especially in those situations that, things could happen. Let's take, for instance, um, grain bins. I mean, we know we're not supposed to go in them, but there's times that, we do have to enter grain bins. It's, a very good idea to, have the proper equipment if you have it, and then, let someone else know this is where you're going to be, or them watching you. Um, and then whenever you're in the field for yourself, you can have that cell phone with you. So that if something does happen, to be able to call, it's a great idea.
And I know there are several resources out there. I know UT Extension has some. I'm sure there are others out there of just safety courses and just some seminars that farmers can take part in to just remind them about safety protocol. And even myself, I can imagine how you can be like, I don't need that. I'm safe. But it never hurts to go back and kind of get a refresher on those things.
You're exactly right.
Is that something that that you think that you kind of walked away from your experience kind of more open to just maybe not even a course, but just being more mindful and even talking on your farm? You mentioned your twin brother, your dad, just having those conversations about safety. I'm sure that kind of had to open that dialogue a little more.
It did. Now don't get me wrong, we had practiced safety on the farm since I was little bitty.
Yeah.
But after this accident, it was a more of a mind opener to us on safety, and then also, the transition factor that, things happen, and being more prepared for things like that.
Yeah, because not even, I mean, accidents do happen even if you are practicing safety. What do you do when they happen? What's the protocol after that accident happens? Time is of the essence in a lot of ways of getting to medical attention, things of that nature. So I'm sure that has to be a factor in it too of, okay, even if an accident does happen, what do we do? What about the mental health aspect of it of this week? Because safety is a part of it, but health is definitely a part of it too. And that's been a really big push, I feel like, in the last little bit.
I agree with you.
Talking about mental health, I mean, it's a thing, right? It is a big thing for everybody, but especially for farmers.
Right. I believe everyone has something going on at some point or another, and a lot of times they're not showing it. And if it's not dealt with in the right way, it can cause some serious problems. And farmers probably are as high as any in that category. I mean, they spend a lot of time alone. They deal with a lot of stress with, weather or marketing, and it can certainly get to them.
And that mental health aspect of it, if you're stressed out,
That's not going to help.
that's not going to help with the safety aspect of it too.
Exactly.
And AFBF has been really good about the farm state of mind, trying to offer some resources to farmers, which is a great thing, I think. But I feel like at the end of the day, it really comes back to that grassroots thing, right? Where neighbor helping neighbor and being open to being vulnerable and talking about some of these issues with your neighbor, with your fellow farmers.
I agree with you. The neighbor thing is probably the big thing that can be a lot of help. But also that farmers are stubborn, and they keep things to themselves. I mean, that's just I think part of the nature of a lot of farmers. Would you agree?
I would, and I would even say, I mean, just a human thing. We don't like to be vulnerable with one another at the end of the day.
So it's a very tough situation, tough subject.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you being heavily involved in young farmers and ranchers, you're also the county president here in Franklin. Farm Bureau is a great networking for, getting ideas about new ways to farm, things of that. It's just a lot of fun too. But also it does build community. Would you agree? And yeah,
It's a little family.
yeah,
Or actually, it's a big family.
Big family.
State
Yeah,
level and
that's right.
level.
yeah. But having those county farm bureau meetings, having young farmers and ranchers meetings, creates those opportunities to have those conversations, to check in with one another, and to see how the other person's doing.
Yep. Sometimes, I mean, we're too busy to go to them, but we go to them, and you know, we gain a lot more from it than what we may realize. We may not be just gaining what's coming from the speaker or the meetings, but just that interaction with your other farmers and friends, it can do the person a whole lot of good.
Absolutely. We all need one another at the end of the day. That's a fact for sure. And we need to practice farm safety, need to talk about it, and need to share experiences like you did, for sure. Because that opens the door for other people to hear that and kind of remind them that even on the safest of farms, accidents can happen.
They sure can.
Yep. Any other final thoughts or anything else that you'd like people to know about this, or that you'd like them to take away from this National Farm Safety Week?
I guess it's a real thing. I mean, we sometimes think, oh, this won't never happen to me, or I'm careful, but it's a real thing, and it can happen like that. What we're doing, we think, is really important. It's got to be done, but in the big picture, we need to take a moment to just realize we better be careful, because this may be the last thing we do if we handle it the wrong way.
Absolutely. Kary, thanks for joining us today. Kary Robinson has been our guest on Root of the Matter today on this rainy day here at Sugar Tree Farms. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.